Hello, all. Welcome to this session where I'm giving answers to the previous papers of biology. Since, like most of you are not joining, when I conducted class, I thought of conducting myself and giving answers and helping you. So check this if you think it is useful. Okay. So first question of paper 2025, which starts with the bryophytes are commonly known as. So bryophytes are commonly known as mosses. That's the answer. And the main function of so this is like comes in plant tissue. We can omit this one. The next one, the type of plant tissue which is involved in photosynthesis. It is also parenchyma, relates to plants. We can omit this one. And primary pigment in the plants is during involved in photosynthesis chlorophyll. This one, which of the following is unique to Schneiderians? I think it is radial symmetry. So Schneiderian is nothing but the Coelenterata, one of the types. So answer is radial symmetry. And next one, a new plant species discovered in a tropical rainforest has large leaves and reproduces through spores. So this plant is most likely fern. The answer is the fern. Next one, the tissue in which the cells are filled with the flat globules. It's the adipose tissue. Okay, because adipose tissue stores the fat. Next one, if a plant is placed in a room with CO2 levels and adequate light, the most immediate effect on its photosynthesis rate is that it will increase. So, as we know that the photosynthesis will increase as the level of CO2 increases, as there is a sufficient light, sufficient water. Based on all these things, the level of photosynthesis increases. If a plant needs to store large amount of food, which tissue is likely to be most developed? It is parenchyma related to plant tissue, so you can omit this one. Next one, what are the most common characteristics of organisms in kingdom Animalia? So mostly the organisms in Animalia kingdom are multicellular and heterotrophic. Okay, heterotrophic in the sense that they cannot prepare their own food. Multicellular, more than one cell. And which of the following factors does not directly affect the rate of photosynthesis? That is the type of soil. Remaining all three, light, CO2, and temperature, they affect the rate of photosynthesis, whereas type of soil is not. Next one is laboratory experiment microorganism is found to be rod shaped and spores, so it is bacillus. Because bacilli are rod shaped bacteria. Whenever rod shaped bacteria comes, it is bacilli or bacillus. Okay, next, if an animal has a backbone and is warm-blooded, which class of classification will it be placed? So, if it is backbone means vertebrate and warm-blooded, so basically it is like a mammal. Okay, it is a mammal. Next one, the gelatinous proteinaceous protective covering of bacterial cell is termed as capsule. It is termed as capsule. Capsule is nothing but the gelatinous protective covering of a bacterial cell. Next one, which of the following structures is not found in body of birds? You don't find teeth. Remaining all you can, I think you can find like beak, claws, scales, but you can't find teeth in bird. Okay, the structure that regulates the opening and closing of stomata in plant leaves is the guard cells. So this is very important. Guard cells regulates the opening and closing of stomata. The bacteria that converts juices to vinegar, it is acetic acid bacteria. Acetic acid bacteria helps in converting fruit juices into vinegar. The fluid that carries oxygen around the body is the blood. Okay, blood is the fluid which helps in transport of oxygen. Okay, next one, a unicellular fungus used in baking and fermentation is yeast. So this is important. Yeast is the fungus used in baking and cakes, and it is also used for like fermentation process for wine and beer. Okay, the tissue that connects bones to another bone is called ligament. So we have to remember that ligament connect to bones, whereas tendon connect to muscles to bones. Okay, the odd one out: grass, sugarcane, pine, mango. Odd one out is pine, because the others are angiosperms, whereas pine is a gymnosperm. Okay, Next one, crab, spider, prawn, earthworm, earthworm obviously, because these prawn, spider, crab, these are anthropods. Next one, jellyfish, dogfish, sea anemone, hydra. It's a dogfish because the others are coelenterata. Okay, cytons, axons, tendons, dendrons. So tendons is the one because the others are like the part of the neuron cell or the neuron, nerve cell. Brinjal, rice, grass, maize. So obviously the odd one out is brinjal because the others are like the category of monocotyledons. So you have like two parts, monocotyledon and dicotyledon. Okay, we go into the blanks. A bacterial cell has most primitive nucleus bounded by nuclear membrane and has only chromatin material in the center. The outermost wall is made largely of cellulose like material. Dash and dash are absent. Mitochondria and plastids are absent. So this kind of things may come wherein four or five blanks they may ask mostly related to bacterial cells. So this is the answer. Next one is like the diagram on this page match the structure. So question two, what it is? Uh, Here it is. So they have given this one. So we have to label these parts with respect to. So obviously you can see like second one is like the nucleus one with the dot. So we see the answers here. So first one is the food vacuole. Number one, this is the food vacuole that we have here. And number two is contractile vacuole, which is inside this one. This is the contractile vacuole. Next, we have the number three, which is the cell membrane. This is the cell membrane. And number four, you have nucleus. Number four is nucleus, and number five is pseudopodium. This is number five pseudopodium. So this is like the diagram of amoeba, and you have to name those parts. Somewhat difficult, but you have to remember. Correct the matching. So first is C, which is like phylum is formed of dead rubber cells. Oh, so this is true or false, right? So this is the answers and true or false. False. Phylum is mainly xylem is formed of dead tubular cells, not phloem. Okay. Red blood cells are smaller in size than bacteria. That is also false because they are larger than bacteria. Gymnosperms are mostly woody trees. That is true. Centipede, millipede are examples of crustacea. That is false. They are examples of myriapods. Okay. Next, stomata remain open during the night. That is false. During the night, um stomata generally remains closed during the night, not open. Okay. During the day, it is open. Next one, explain the terms phanerograms. This is the new one. I note. So basically, phanerograms they include gymnosperms and angiosperms. These are seed-producing plants. Okay. And next one is students observe organisms like snail, earthworm, identify their phyla. Phyla means a subclass of the kingdom and give at least reason. So snail phylum is mollusca, earthworm phylum is annelida. Differentiate between annelids and flatworms. So for annelids, body is elongated and segmented, whereas for flatworms, it is like flattened and unsegmented. So next, I think an example of parasitic flatworms. Example of parasitic flatworm is the tapeworm. And why are mosses called amphibians? This is very important. It is going to come definitely for sure because mosses are called amphibians of plant kingdom. They mainly grow on land in moist and shady places, and they require water for sexual reproduction. So this is the reason why they are called amphibians of the plant kingdom. Next one, identified the diagram on parasitic worm with separate male and female parts. Which is that one? I think this is this one. This diagram. So what are the questions? What is the question related to it? Name the phylum to which the organism belongs. So it belongs to Nemathelminths or Nematoda, And state the common name of organism. It is the roundworm. Where will you find this organism? It can be found in the small intestine. Okay. Write the chemical equation of photosynthesis. This is the equation you have to remember at any cost, because photosynthesis is anabolic process, which means it's a build up process. Build up process means, you see here, six molecules of CO2, six molecules of water, which means smaller molecules are taken together and they are converted into bigger molecule, glucose, whose formula is C6H12O6, in the presence of chlorophyll and sunlight. And this is the exact equation of the photosynthesis. Name the two types of fungi used in ripening of cheese. So you have Penicillium roqueforti and Penicillium camemberti. I'm not sure if these are there in the textbook, but this is the answer. Okay, significance of cone in gymnosperms. Cones are reproductive structures of gymnosperms. They bear reproductive organs and helps in seed formation. So, like you see the cones in the pines, they are basically reproductive structure of gymnosperms. They produce reproductive organs. They bear reproductive organs. Tentacles in jellyfish. My significance of tentacles in jellyfish, basically they help in capturing prey, the means of food, and defend itself. They have stinging cells. This is the characteristics. State two characteristics of phylum Porifera. So their body possesses numerous tiny pores, and they are mostly aquatic animals with a canal system. So basically, porifera, like they have number of large openings or pores on their body through which the water goes inside, and there is a very large opening through which the water comes out. So that is porifera. Next, hydrilla experiment. This is not there, just omit this one. Next one, okay, hydrilla. This is a separate question or what? Fifth one, we'll see this one. Where is hydrilla experiment? This experiment they have given. State the given experiment and answer the following questions. So you have sunlight, gas, water, hydrilla there, and support to keep the funnel of the bottom. So what is the identified gas collected? How do plants store glucose? State any one importance of pallida is mesophyll. Okay, so gas collected is oxygen, because oxygen is released during photosynthesis. How do plants store glucose? They store glucose into insoluble starch. Okay, they convert glucose into insoluble starch. And one importance of palisade mesophyll in green leaves is they contain chloroplast. Okay, because chloroplast is the one which store the all the food that is produced during photosynthesis. Next one, state the exact location of stomata. Okay, these are the normal questions. We'll see this one. Exact location of stomata. Stomata are the minute pores located in the epidermis of the leaves. Okay, in the epidermis of the leaves, and usually they are very large in number, more on the lower epidermis of the leaves. So these are basically the pores located on the epidermis of the leaves. Two differences between frog and cuttlefish. Frog belongs to amphibia, cuttlefish belong to species, one type of the animalia kingdom. And adult breathes mainly through lungs and moist skin, whereas this fish breathes through gills. Okay, and this frog has limbs, whereas this has fins. So you can write any two. What are the two main significance of photosynthesis? Photosynthesis produces food, which is the basis for all the living organisms. And next one is during the process of photosynthesis, oxygen is released, which is required for all the living beings. Okay, so this is the significance of photosynthesis. Next one, Salmonella typhi is harmful bacterium, while some E. coli or good bacteria, Q reasons, is harmful because it causes typhoid fever. Okay, whereas E. coli living in human intestines are beneficial because they help in normal intestinal process, including the production of certain vitamins such as vitamin K. So if you consider like bacteria and fungi, some are harmful and some are useful. So this is the Salmonella typhi is one which is harmful, whereas E. coli is, which is present in the human intestine, is useful one. Similarly, you have penicillium, which is used in making antibiotics. So many bacteria are there which are useful and some are harmful. Like yeast is useful in uh, in making bread, fermentation of beer, etc. Okay. Next one, draw a well diagram of binary fission in amoeba. So you have to draw the diagram and you have to show different parts like the nucleus, cytoplasm, so and so. Okay, and you have to also mention all these parts like cell membrane, pseudopodia, all this. Classification. This is important and is definitely going to come. It's a systematic grouping of organisms into categories based on similarities and differences, and can classify the following as prokaryotes and eukaryotes with the suitable reasons. So Chlamydomonas is a eukaryote because basically it possesses true nucleus surrounded by nucleus membrane and membrane bound organelles. So that is what the meaning of eukaryote. Whereas this lactobacillus, this is prokaryote. It means that they don't possess the definite nucleus and the nuclear membrane. It is a bacterium and does not possess the true membrane bound nucleus. Okay, so these ones you have to mention with respect to prokaryote and eukaryote. So Chlamydomonas is eukaryote and Lactobacillus is prokaryote. Next, two fungal infections in humans. You have the athlete foods, ringworms. Okay, so you can see the textbook. These are two infections. These are the harmful fungi. Okay, state the phylum and class of deer. So class is basically belongs to Mammalia, means it produces the new young ones, and the phylum, which is the subclass of the kingdom, it belongs to chordata. Root nodules, this belongs to plant tissue, so you can omit this one. This is also plant tissue. This is also plant tissue. Omit. What is the relationship between bacteria and the host plant? So, why is the relationship between bacteria and the host plant called symbiosis? I think this also belongs to plant kingdom, so you can omit this one. Explain the term nephridia. This is important. Nephridia are the excretory organs of the earthworm that remove metabolic waste from its body. Basically, excretory organs of the earthworm are called nephridia. Okay. Differentiate between grass and rose based on leaf. So this is plant kingdom. Omit this one. Rank the following with respect to cell tissue organ. Plant kingdom. Omit. State two characteristics of one. Again, this is important. Ferns are vascular, non-flowering plants. They reproduce by spores rather than seeds. Ferns are vascular, non-flowering plants. They reproduce by spores instead of seeds. And study the diagram. Which is the diagram? This is the diagram. This belongs to plant kingdom, so you can omit this one. Next one. Class and characteristics of one animal. You can say class reptilia. Characteristics, it has horny scales. Anything you can mention. Okay. Name the organ through which it breathes. It's the lungs. So arrange the following terms in proper logical sequence. Cambium, Baekener. So this belongs to plant kingdom. You can omit. Next one, scientific name of tuberculosis. It is called Mycobacterium tuberculosis. This is the scientific name. And for cholera, the scientific name is Vibrio cholerae. Cholerae. Okay. Next one, distinguish between algae and fungi based on modes of nutrition. So algae is autotrophic, which means that they can prepare their own food and they contain chlorophyll and they can prepare their own food by photosynthesis. Fungi are heterotrophic and they obtain food by saprophytic or parasitic nutrition. That is the meaning of heterotrophic. So in terms of modes of nutrition only, you have to specify the differences. Next, habitat. In terms of habitat, you have to mention algae and fungi. Algae are basically found in aquatic habitats, whereas fungi are found in warm, moist places. Okay, warm, moist places. Next one, fins are covered. This is related. Can omit this one. Reserve food material in bacterium is starch. Is it true or false? I think it is called glycosan. Reserved food material in bacterium is called glycosan. Okay. So you have to correct this one. So fins are covered and protected by the operculum. Answer is gills are covered and protected by operculum. Okay. The final diagram, the bird diagram, what it shows. Okay, where is it? Okay, this is the bird diagram. So what is asking? Right, the class to which this belongs, it belongs to class Aves. One characteristic has four limbs and wings, modified wings. Is this animal warm-blooded? It is warm-blooded, yes. And yeah, I think that's all. This with this the entire paper of 2024 is done. So we go to the next paper, which is 2025, and the answers are as follows. The single long cylindrical process of neuron is called axon. This is important. Single long cylindrical process of neuron is called axon. Which of the following category of plants contains seeds inside the cones? That is gymnosperms. Examples: pine. The plant contains seeds inside the cones. Fungi are saprophytic organisms. Assertion and reason is fungi obtain their nutrition by decomposing organic matter or forming parasitic relationship. Both are true. The process by which glucose is converted into starch is known as polymerization. Again, this is very important. So definitely it will come. The process by which glucose is converted to starch is called polymerization. Next one. Which of the following tissues is found in the kidney tubules and salivary glands? Those are the cuboidal epithelium. So you have different kinds of epitheliums: cuboidal, columnar, squamous, ciliated. So those that are found in kidney tubules and salivary glands are cuboidal epithelium. Assertion: chlorophyll is inactivated by sunlight. Reason: the solar energy splits the water. The second is correct, but first one is wrong because chlorophyll is activated by sunlight. Which class of vertebrates has animals with a moist and non-scaly skin? So the answer is amphibia. Example: frog, moist and non-scaly skin. Chemoautotrophic nutrition is shown by bacteria. So again, in modes of nutrition, you have like autotrophic and heterotrophic. In autotrophic, again, you have like the one with green plants too, and there is chemoautotrophic. Example: the bacteria. So in heterotrophic, you have like different parasitic, sapriotic, two other kinds are there. Just check in the textbook. Okay. Which of the following statements are true with respect to photosynthesis? So second and fourth are true. Starch is produced during the process. Sunlight, water, carbon dioxide are required for the photosynthesis. It is an anabolic process. This definition will come definitely. So you have to remember it's an anabolic process in which the plants prepare their food. They produce glucose and oxygen using carbon dioxide and water in presence of chlorophyll and sunlight. So what is the meaning of anabolic is, as I told earlier, small molecules are converted into bigger molecules like CO2 and water is converted into bigger molecule glucose C6H12O6. That is the meaning of anabolic. It's a build up process, means from small things you are building one big thing, that is called anabolic. Okay. Next one, in Snyderian or Coelenterata, the mouth is surrounded by number of projections called tentacles. Okay, Coelenterata have tentacles. Muscular tissue brings about the movement of body parts. The special property of muscular tissue is called, both are true. Kidney shaped cells surrounding the stomata are called dash cells. They are called guard cells. Where is the squamous epithelial tissue found? It is found in cornea. There is one more which is found on the outer layer of skin. Check that one, but basically it is found on the cornea. Inflammation of lungs is a symptom of pneumonia. Vertebrates or animals that have both, like the backbone, they have the backbone and they are mostly they have the heart on the ventral side. See, again, this one came like in the earlier paper we got bacteria, now it is amoeba. Amoeba catches its prey by sending out its pseudopodia that engulfs it and digests it by forming a food vacuole. It sends out the pseudopodia and then digest it with a food vacuole. The food of amoeba consists of tiny algae, bacteria, and protozoa. The food of algae consists of, sorry, the food of amoeba consists of algae, bacteria, and protozoa. Amoeba does not have a mouth. It does not have a mouth to feed. Then how the digestion takes place? The digestion of food takes place inside the cell, and it is called intracellular digestion. That which happens inside the cell is called intracellular. That which happens between two cells is called intercellular. So the digestion happens inside the cell, that is intracellular digestion. Okay, so this kind of thing will come. Just concentrate on those things, bacteria and amoeba. Okay, next one, odd one out: parasites, saprophytes, symbionts, green plants, because the others are like heterotrophic, but green plants are autotrophic. Wheat, rice, gram, maize. The answer is gram, because the others are monocotyledons, but gram is dicotyledon. Turtles, tortoise, snakes, frogs. The answer is frog, because these three things belongs to class of reptilia, but this belongs to mammalia. Skeletal, smooth, cardiac neurons. So these are like muscular tissue, whereas neuron belongs to the nervous tissue. Okay, the odd one out is our neuron. Whale sharks, dolphin, bats. So here you can say bats, but the answer is given as shark. Bats, because these all things live in water, but this is arboreal or aerial. But the answer is shark. Okay, might be in terms of mammals. Just check this one. Okay. Next one, name the following: a special category of soil bacteria found in root nodules. So this is plant, leave it. An element that is micronutrients, this is very important. The element that is micronutrient and macronutrient is iron. So you have two kinds of nutrients: macro, where the plant need in larger amount, that is macro, and where the needs in small amount is micro. Example of macro, those all starting with em: potassium, calcium, magnesium, so on and so forth, phosphorus, nitrogen, etc. Whereas for micro, it is iron, zinc, manganese, and copper. So basically, iron is like a micronutrient, but it is used by plants in large amounts. So it is like both, in the sense like that it is both micro and macronutrients. It's a kind of exception. Okay, hard but porous tissue where cells are arranged in concentric rings, that is called bone. A serious type of food poisoning caused due to bacteria that occurs in tin seal food is called botulism. I'm not sure if it is there in textbook, but you can remember this. Structures that present at the end of axons connected with the dendrites of other neurons, those are called synaptic nodes. Again, this is very important. Structures that are present at the end of axons and connected with dendrites of other neurons are called synaptic knobs. And you have to match the following: Rohul and Katla are bony fishes. Arachnida, they have book lungs. Nissel granules, this is important. Nissel granules are found in cytone, inside the nucleus, and this is also very important. Bryophytes are called amphibians of plant kingdom, because we have studied earlier they live on the land, but they need water for reproduction, so that's why they are called amphibians of plant kingdom. Tendon, so this is also we studied earlier. Tendon connects muscles to bones, and ligaments connect bones to bones. This is also very important. Okay, next one. Necrosis means less chlorophyll in leaves. That is false. Answer is chlorosis. Chlorosis means less uh, chlorophyll in leaves. Echinoderms have spiny exoskeleton. That is also false. They have spiny endoskeleton, not exoskeleton. Next one, oviparous animals give birth to young ones. That is false, because oviparous animals lays eggs, whereas viviparous animals give birth to young ones. Okay. Pea and beans have dorsiventral leaves. That is true. And areolar tissue is called padding tissue. That is true. So again, you have like four kinds of tissues: areolar, adipose, tendons, and ligaments. So areolar are like the padding tissue, and I think no. I think areolar is packing, and adipose is the padding tissue. So this is false. Areolar is packing, and adipose is the padding tissue. Okay. Define invertebrates. So this is important. Invertebrates are animals that does not possess the vertebral column or the backbone. So differentiate between blood and lymph. This is also important. Blood is due to presence of red pigment, that is called hemoglobin, And lymph is consists of pale yellow or colorless substance. In blood, you have RBC, WBC, and platelets, whereas lymph consists only of WBC. RBCs is not there, and WBCs are called polyspores of the body. That is also important. Next one, identify the organism and mention its phylum. What is that organism? Ding, 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 ding. Okay, this is the organism. The organism is octopus and it belongs to phylum Mollusca, means subclass of the Animalia kingdom. Given characteristics of phylum, they are generally possess soft and segmented body. So from here only you can see this one. It contains soft and segmented body and it has tentacles. Okay. Next one, what are these tiny openings are called? Where is that paper? Okay, these ones. You see these ones. These tiny openings are called stomata. And name the bean-shaped cells that regulate opening and closing. Those are the guard cells. The bean-shaped cells that regulate opening and closing are guard cells. Explain the process of opening and closing of these structures. So what happens during the daytime? The guard cells absorb more water and they become turgid. Their outer walls stretch more. This causes the inner walls, making the thick inner walls, and the guard cells. Consequently, that pores opens up during the day. See, in the night, what happens? These pores they closes up because the water goes there from stromata to other parts of the plant, and that bulging these cells becomes flaccid during the night, and it closes. So that is the process. So you have to answer this one. This is also very important. Remember this and try to answer. At what time of day do these structures become flaccid? So it's there. They become flaccid at night, and guard cells loses water and become flaccid. Okay. Next one, classification. This will also come. Classification is systematic grouping of organisms into different categories based on their similarities and differences. So we group the organisms based on their similarities and differences, and this kind of grouping of the organisms is called classification. This is also important. Flowering, non-flowering. Flowering produces flowers, non-flowering does not produce flowers. Seeds are produced after reproduction, and some reproduce by sperms, okay, while some bear seeds in the cones. Example, pine tree, pine fruit. Next one, okay, correct diagram should label. What is this question? Don't need like the diagram of nerve cell and four parts. So you have to draw the nerve cell, see from the textbook, and label these parts: dendroids, dendrons, cytons, nucleus, axon, and synaptic node. This is the sequence also you have to remember. From dendrites to dendron, then the cyton, the nucleus, axon, and synaptic node. So you can remember something like DDC, NAS. Okay. Next one is what? Next one is what? What is the function of connective tissue? So in the name itself, it's there. It connects, binds, supports, and protects the tissues and organs of the body. Mammals and reptilia. What is the question in terms of mammals and reptilia? Aditya observed mammals like elephants and reptiles. What are the key differences between mammals and reptiles in terms of temperature regulation? So mammals are warm-blooded, whereas reptiles are cold-blooded. Warm-blooded means they have relative constant temperature. Cold-blooded means the temperature varies according to the surroundings. Compare the methods of reproduction. Mammaporous are mostly viviparous, in the means they give birth to young ones, whereas reptiles are mostly oviparous, they lay eggs. And compare their hearts. So mammals have four-chambered heart, reptiles have three-chambered heart. But there is an exception in the crocodile, which has four chambered hearts. Crocodile is reptile, but it has four chambered hearts. Voluntary muscles. So in the name itself, you have voluntary muscles of those muscles where the movements are under the control of our will. Example, skeletal muscles of our arms and legs. Involuntary, we don't have control under them. For example, the heartbeat. Okay. State the location and one function of cartilage. So those like, tender bones which are present on tip of the nose, ear, end of the ears, external ears, and trachea, those are called cartilage. That's the location. And function is it supports and flexibility. Provide supports and flexibility and reduces friction between the bones between the joints. Now this kind of question is important, like application type of questions. Geeta tried to set curd, but found that it did not set properly. She realized she has used very cold milk and kept in a cold place. Why is warm milk preferred for setting curd, and what happens if too little or no curd is added to the milk? Okay, so warm milk provides a favorable temperature for growth of bacteria called lactobacillus bacterium, because of which the milk is converted into curd. That is the answer. What happens if too little or no curd is added? If too little no curd is added, lactobacillus bacterium will be absent there, and the milk may not turn into curd. So the balance equation for photosynthesis, you see, this also came here. So this is very important. You have to remember this diagram, sorry, this equation. Next one, draw different types of bacteria, which kingdom they belong to, and explain any one use. So different shapes of bacteria are like coccus is one bacteria which is spherical, bacillus is rod shaped, spirillum has spiral shape in the name itself is there, and then you have vibrio, it is comma shape. Four different kinds of shapes. So they belong to kingdom Monera. Total five kingdoms are there. Kingdom Monera, kingdom fungi, kingdom Mammalia, and two other kingdoms are there. Just check in the textbook. Okay, five kingdoms are there in total. Next one, parasite. This is also very important. Parasite is organism living in lives on other organisms and obtains food from it. Okay, that is the meaning of parasite. Algae and fungi differences in terms of most nutrition. Algae is mostly autotrophic, we have seen this one. Fungi is heterotrophic. And platyhelminthes and nymph porifera example. Platyhelminthes is tapeworm, and porifera is, you can mention, cycon, spongilla, all these things. And this is very important. Earthworms are of great importance. They are called the friends of farmers. Why? Because they burrow through soil, making it loose and well aerated, means the air will spread through it, and the root takes the air from those aerated soil, and they also releases the waste, their excreta. They contains nitrogen, and that makes the soil fertile. So, which is necessary for the plant growth. So that is why they are called the friends of the farmers. So they are of great importance to agriculture. These two advantages of classification. Classification makes the study and identification of organisms easier and systematic, and it helps to understand the differences and the similarities and relationships among the organisms, and explain excretion in amoeba. So you have to draw the diagram and you have to explain this process. Okay. Excess water and waste collect in contractile vacuole. The vacuole increases in size. It then moves towards the cell surface, and then it expels the contents outside. Okay, so this time you have to mention these parts. Anemia, this is important. Anemia is a condition in which hemoglobin level in the blood is lower than normal. Okay, it's very low instead of normal, which is used to have. And if any person has the that hemoglobin level which is lower than the normal, then they are said to suffer from anemia. And if this is present, what happens is it reduces the oxygen carrying capacity of the blood. Okay, and final, differentiate between cuboidal and stratified epithelium in terms of function. So this performs mainly secretion and absorption, whereas stratified one, they protects against wear and tear. Species and aves in terms of habitat. So species live in water, whereas aves, they are like mostly aerial or terrestrial animals. Okay, example, birds. Significance of photosynthesis. This we have seen, and it's very important. Photosynthesis produces food, and all living organisms depend on this food produces by the plant during photosynthesis. And photosynthesis releases oxygen. All humans, living organisms, they need oxygen for their breathing and living. Bread mold. What is the scientific name? It is called Rhizopus stolonifer, and it belongs to kingdom fungi. Okay, and you have to draw the neat label diagram and mention these parts, spores, all these things, rhizoids, hyphae, etc. What is the coating mass developed on the bread? It is called a mycelium. The coating mass bread, produced on the bread is a mycelium, and it consists of thread-like structures called hyphae. Under what conditions does this mass develop on the bread? Under warm and moist conditions. That is the answer. Define classification, again, you see it came here. It's very important. It's a systematic grouping of organisms into different categories based on similarities and differences. And binomial nomenclature. Bi means two, nomen means name, two names. Every organism is given the scientific names of having two names. The first name is the generic name, and the second one is the specific name. For example, frog is called Rana tigrina. Okay, tiger is called Panthera tigris. Humans are called Homo sapiens. Dog is called what is dog called? Canis familiaris. So every animal, every living organism, whether it's a plant or animal, is given two separate names. One is general, and then there is a specific. So that kind of naming is called binomial nomenclature, or scientific naming of living organism. What is the study of algae? This is important. The study of algae is called phycology, and the study of fungi is called mycology, and the study of tissues is called histology. Okay, two pictures. One is a mango. You have to identify its name is Magnifera indica. Similarly, if they ask name, it is Azadica indica. For tiger, Panthera tigris. So they have shown this diagram. This diagram is of frog. So you can identify it easily. Frog, phylum and class. It belongs to chordata, and class is amphibia, means it can live both on land and water. Two different features of this one. It has vertebral column. It has a dorsal hollow nerve. It's present. Okay. Named respiratory. It breathes through lungs and moist skin. Is this animal cold-blooded? Yes, it's a cold-blooded animal. Okay. So I think that finishes this one. Okay. Is there more? No, that's all. This is one. So this completes the answers for the previous two papers. I hope this will be useful. Prepare well and write the exams well. Thank you. Bye.